Now, this is extremely cool. This is my Rocna Anchor, and they're from New Zealand. It's 15 kilogram, around 33 pounds. A little bit bigger than I may need for the boat, but an old seaman like myself knows that when it comes to anchors, bigger is better, like some other things in life. These are, what do they call them? New format, anyway, about 4 years ago, anchors took a big change. You're probably familiar with Danforth anchors. They're the ones that have the flukes that flop up and down. They're not that great. They work okay in sand, but if the tide changes, they're going to pull out and you're going to end up hitting another boat or ended up floating on the shore. The way these things work is the weight is concentrated in the point. You can't tell it by looking at it, but a lot of the weight is right in here. I don't know if they got lead in there or what it is, but that really causes it to drive into the sand or mud or grass, whatever you're in, so that it'll set. This thing, this curved thing here, what that does is when the tide changes, it keeps the anchor from rolling over. It'll roll over a little ways, and then that thing will just flop it right back to the point so that it'll reset because the tide changes. And the tide changes are always at night when you're sleeping. And so it's nice to have an anchor that you're pretty doggone sure is going to reset. Now this little thing back here is just a stainless steel little swivel. And what I do with that is I put a piece of that polypropylene rope on there, and when the rope gets on a boat, it becomes a line. But when it's in the back of my pickup truck, it's still rope. I put about 20 feet on there, and I've got a little orange crab pot float that I put on there. And what happens there is if you set this anchor in somewhere where there's roots or trees or something like that, it can get fouled, and it's virtually impossible to get out. You run the boat up as close as you can, so you try and raise it like this, but still if there's a tree right there, you're in trouble. So what this thing does is you're able to get that line and go up there with a boat hook and get hold of that line, and I can pull the anchor out backwards so I don't lose my fancy New Zealand Rocna Anchor. And New Zealand is kind of famous for its boating stuff. Those people boat in some crazy conditions. But anyway, that's a Rocna Anchor. They're the latest and the greatest. They make a different variety called a Vulcan that doesn't have this bow on it. It's a little bit smaller, and they did that to compete with one called the Magna, I believe it is. But anyway, great anchor. I'm looking forward to using it, and I think it's going to serve me well. So that's what we got today. We'll have some more interesting stuff, at least to me, to post a little later.